What is up, everybody? I am late to my live stream, but it's just been one of those days. I guess I should let this go for a little bit. It's been one of those days, you guys. Just busy, 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 busy. I felt like I was bombarded today. Bombarded by just this and that. This has just been a big week. I'm just looking forward to tomorrow. I'm just looking forward to tomorrow, the day of rest. Let me go ahead and mute myself. It's been such a busy week. I feel like I have ended like most of my days very, very exhausted. Just exhausted beyond all hell this week. And I just keep my prayers up and ask God for the strength. Just keep my prayers up, ask God for the strength. What's going on, Brian? I see you. What is up with you? I hope that you have had a wonderful day. Time to relax, y'all. Time to relax. I did catch Trump's address to the joint session, though, but it ran so damn long that I'm like, I'm not about to do a live stream on this. I know a lot of people, they do the whole live while it's going on. And if I was doing that, I'd probably be talking the whole time because it was just a lot of peculiar stuff. Check out my short. I'm looking at some of these Democrats like, what in the Gotham City is in our government? Like, for real. Like, some of these people took, some of these fantasy, comics and stuff just too far. I mean, I saw almost every rendition of a character from a movie that I saw when I was a kid on the Democratic side. They were an angry looking bunch, just an angry looking bunch. And it's like, damn, they are really pissed off. They just in their feelings. But I'm just looking at some of those people on that side, and it's like, we're the party of inclusion. Come as you are, be as weird as you want. We want you as a representative on our side. And I'm looking at some of these, the lady with the blue hair and the green eyeshadow. I'm like, what in the hocus pocus is this? And she was sitting next to Glinda the White Witch. I'm like, what the hell? Some of them people look like a dogma in themselves. Like, just sad looking. But off of that, Trump, I don't know if it was me or if Trump was really, his tone in that joint session was very hopeful. I think if anybody was on the fence, because there is a lot of fervor going on right now, you have a lot of people, voicing their opinions about the Trump administration, what they are trying to do with the economy. And, it's a lot of panic and uncertainty, rightfully so. I think when you have, an administration like this that comes in and just start making drastic changes, right? People tend to not like things like that. It's like that little book, that they used to make you read in corporate America when they were about to make changes about the little mice who moved my cheese. Anybody have to read that in corporate America when you're going through like some type of like reconstruction in an organization? If they wanted to retain you in an organization, they gave you that little book and it was like, here, read this. This is for your mental health, right? And then it has you like so focused on which mouse that you are that you don't even think about, the organizational changes. I don't know. I was really fascinated with who moved my cheese. I don't remember which little mouse I was, but I'm pretty adapted to change because I just feel like, hey, there's nothing new under the sun. What will be, will be. Just don't make me feel more like a slave with these changes. But, anyways, Trump was in that joint sessions, and I think people were very, I think the Republicans were very energized. They were very hyped. Obviously, the Democrats, they came to protest like they normally do. They are always protesting some shit, right? So they came with their little signs locked and loaded. They came with their little blackface ready to just get kicked out so that he can show that he was escorted by some cops. so that they can have a picture of how racist the Trump administration is for kicking this black man who lacked decorum in the joint sessions out because he wanted to take that opportunity to interrupt the president of the United States with his protests. And I do respect the Speaker of the House for getting that kind of control because honestly, I'm sick of shit like that. Y'all want to go outside and do that shit on the streets? You want to do that shit in front of the little Capitol buildings? That's fine. But I am tired of that shit happening in the place of business. I think that that should stop. And I give the speaker props for having the balls to at least set the tone for what should be happening in those types of sessions. And that's just my opinion, right? I'm really sick of the House of the People being treated like a fucking brothel between these two, you know? So I respect him for kicking Representative Green out, Al Green. He was talking about, Medicaid, and I understand him being passionate about that. But time, place, and manner. That's what I learned, and I didn't even go to law school. I had this one guy actually want to pay for me to go to law school. Probably should have took him up on that. I probably would have been a stellar lawyer. But I'm just saying, time, place, and manner. You got to have scruples. You have to have scruples. I don't really like people paying for me stuff because I always figure like, what am I gonna owe you, right? People just don't offer stuff like that without you having to give some level of your soul to them at some point, and I'm very weird about things like that. I'll be a bum bitch forever. But anyways, Trump, and I had some notes about this. Where's my little letter? I'm always writing stuff on things. But anyways, I felt like he was kind of trolling a little bit that side because he obviously saw their faces and they didn't like he was pumping up so much hope into the American economy. He was exposing so much. I think the bigger story that a lot of Republicans, are upset about is, I guess Trump had a young 13-year-old black boy who had brain cancer. I guess he was a survivor of brain cancer. And this young black boy, despite the conditioning of this country, to paint narratives of black men and the cops, right? There are a lot of good black cops. And this young boy wanted to be one of them, right? And so I guess Trump gave this guy an honor. He gave him an honorary, CIA agent. I thought it was beautiful. I thought I thought his father, it was just a beautiful picture, right? And, I don't care what anybody say about Donald Trump. I mean, I don't know if the man is truly racist. I mean, like I said, a racist would never kind of go out of their way for certain people like Trump has. And like I said, David Duke would never, right? But they put that stuff on Trump quite a bit. But I thought that that was beautiful. I think that that was a way for Trump to demonstrate, what I think a lot of people know deep down. But if you're on the bandwagon of a political ignorance, you're going to believe that that man is racist. And I think it's fair to say, too, that when we're talking about Donald Trump and then we're talking about Donald Trump's base, right? Those are kind of two different conversations because sometimes you can't help who gravitates towards you and your vision of things. It just is what it is. And there were a lot of racist people in the Democratic Party, but obviously they want to act like that's a Republican thing. And I think Democrats are some of the most covert racists there are in this country in so many ways. And I don't care what color they are. They are just racist, many of them. But anyways, I was catching some of Trump's Oval Office conversation. And Trump was saying some interesting things. Like I said, I'm one of those people we shall see, right? I can't boggle my mind about something that I can't predict, right? I can look at the writings on the walls of things, and then I just make my assessments and I act accordingly. With that being said, I think that there's a lot of fervor out there. And obviously, this is the media machine, this is the political machines, and all of these other little super PACs and stuff. They are they're hyping up what Trump is doing, without really kind of understanding, because I guess people are. I think when you hear people randomly narrating, and I do believe that America is significantly weaker than it has ever been historically financially. And when you are financially weak because you have a whole bunch of people who have been in your government short squeezing the earnings of people on some bullshit, right? You don't have, a strong country. And so, when I look at what Trump is doing, and I said this before, and I've never been against tariffs. And even when Trump was running, I said that I do believe that tariffs is a rollback, a drastic rollback of what the neocon machine did to this nation with NAFTA. I'm pretty sure that Trump, being a businessman, he probably saw that trickle down effect. And I think, despite what people want to think, he's a billionaire dude, but sometimes there are a lot of billionaires that are pretty human people. They can actually look at people from a human level. And again, Trump could be the Antichrist himself, fooling us and everything. But I look at the consistency of people and how they operate. And it seems like he's very genuine about rolling back the impacts of NAFTA, that both those rhino Republicans and those Democrats, because NAFTA was bipartisan, right? That they basically sold the soul of America away with this globalism. And Trump said something in the Forbes interview that just kind of made me laugh. He was like, somebody asked him about, what did they ask him? How did they put it? What is his reaction to some of the European countries and some of these people, you know, being impacted by his tariffs? And he keeps on reiterating, and what Democrats will not rebut at all, which leads me to believe that is true, is that some of these nations who have claimed that they are our friends have not really been acting very friendly like. And it's so funny because this guy who was all talking about the tariffs, I guess obviously he was a Trump, not a Trump hater. And my whole thing is, I don't hate any of these people. I don't know them to hate them. I feel like, we are being impacted by a bigger machine other than these face fronts or puppets that we see. So it's like, for me, I don't really have any allegiance to any of these people. But on the other side, it's like, I think about it like this from Trump's perspective. If I were to kind of narrate it a little bit, I would look at Trump as being that rich friend of the group. You got a friend group, and you got, that one friend that is more well off than other. Now, some of the others, right? And so, when you guys go out to eat, for example, right? Because you're the rich friend, right? All the not so well off friends, right? They're like, you should take care of it because you're more wealthier than us, right? But after a while, you get tired of being the one that's kind of holding it down for everybody just at expectations because they feel like you may have more than them, right? And I think that's kind of where Trump is with this. It's like these people who say that they're our friends, they sure have not been friendly to us when it comes to the tariffs that they impose on our nation. And because, the Democratic machine and the neocon Republicans buy friendships instead of negotiating, having good friendships, you're right. I would say Putin and China and the powers in the East will always have a jump on the Western powers when it comes to business relationships. They really would do. I do respect people who make alliances on mutual benefit versus buying friendships. That should only go so far. And I think there's been a lot of people in our government who have been buying friendships, selling out the United States, and because there's taxing power, they just do the shit because they're greedy, slimy devils. They are Satan's children, but they would say that they're God's chosen people. Sad. Anyways, you guys, let me know what you think about Trump's addressing the joint session. Me personally, again, I'm a wait and see kind of person, but I'm also the type of person who's like, again, there's nothing new under the sun. And because there's nothing new under the sun, I am going to see how things play out. Because as much, and I've said this before, and obviously you have so-called expert that will want to get on a mic and just because they got some designation or some title or they've been around some nepotistic people all their lives that they're just so credible, but they weren't able to call the bullshit on America and our debt and how we kept digging ourselves deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into this hole. So some of y'all sitting around acting like y'all so much smarter than other people, y'all need to sit the fuck down and shut the hell up. Because at this point in the game, in the age of information, ignorance is a choice. And you don't even need to go to a Harvard or a Cambridge to be smarter than some of these assholes who have ruined the country. I hope most Americans know that. You do not have to even go to their little nepotistic little institutions of credibility, their little badges of credibility, to be way smarter than them. You really don't, because most of them don't even know how real life people work because they're that removed from being real life people. So that's just my other 2 cents on that. Let me go back. And did you guys hear that there is some speculation that Angie Stone might have been taken out by her label because they owed her money? And she was on the mic openly saying that they owed her money, like so many artists do who have to deal with these record labels. And there are allegations now going around that that Sprinter that she was in was actually shot. And, what a shame. What a shame if that was the case. That poor woman. That poor woman. And I pray that her family fights for her legacy. And, it's interesting because you have a lot of bloggers going really deep into artists, renowned artists who got on the mic complaining about those devils, Satan's chosen children that run those record labels and how they have scammed them, robbed them, capitalized on their ignorance essentially to basically take everything from them. And a lot of these people are in the industries for like her 40 years and she was not able to retire. That is shameful. That is shameful. And I think Trump needs to do something about that. If you really want to just do something to get on the Democrat side, start protecting them artists like he did before in his first term. He actually did put out, legislation to help artists. And I hope that he continues to do that because a lot of these artists are getting screwed over royally, just royally. These people, the devil's children, are basically enslaving a lot of these people. They got to fight. They said, what is it? Bing Crosby had to fight for his family 10 years, right? Just for $2 million from these labels. These people are slimy. They're snakes. And again, this is why reading is fundamental. Get your own lawyer that you trust. Read everything, right? and don't do anything for a long duration. I mean, I would never tell, like, for me personally, if I see Lifetime, long, stupid, long duration, I won't even, I fold. No, I don't need your money because you trying to buy me and my shit. And a lot of these people are not as creative as the artists that they're actually buying out, and they end up suppressing these artists too. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about that. Have you heard of the speculation from Angie Stone? And the last thing that caught my attention is you got Black independent slash conservative media, and they've been going in on Jasmine Crockett. I would say all this week, I have seen blogs about Jasmine Crockett being a Democratic psyop. That Jasmine Crockett is nothing more than a empty wagon and a buck dancer for the Democrats. Now, with that being said, I don't know much about Jasmine Crockett, so I had to go and look up some information. I have been seeing her very vocal. She's been very, very vocal, so I'm pretty sure she's like that new next generation of race hustlers from the Democratic side. So I think what's interesting, for people to know about Jasmine Crockett is that, she's, you know, and I'm trying to be scrupulous here because I don't want to demonize the woman or anything like that. But Jasmine Crockett, I do believe she was propped to embody your stereotypical Black politician. And, for her, and I've heard her say this on interviews recently, that for the Democrats, they need to just have a better social media strategy. They need a better social media strategy. They need to have better influence. So the night of the joint sessions, she did a video with two other Black women, and they were essentially doing the Kendrick Lamar thing, right? Just shucking and jiving, not like us, all that stuff like that. And these people got on her, right? Because they're like, we don't need any more Black people doing all of that shit. We need Black people actually putting things on the table that can move and get results. We don't want another mouthpiece. We don't want somebody, who just, swinging, their bundles all over. We need somebody who's actually put it, out there pragmatically moving things, right? And when I look at Jasmine Crockett, I hate to say it, but she does give, and I even did a video on Jasmine Crockett probably like a year ago, and I said that she allowed Marjorie Taylor Greene to bait the stereotype of the Black woman out of her. And the Democrats were all on my shit about, me being an Uncle Tom and all that dumbass shit that they like to call people, whatever, which they are the real Uncle Toms, many of them. But fast forward to now, and it's really undeniable that she personifies the stereotype of what they want to project about Black women. Like, completely. On so many different levels. And on one side, it's like, it's not even about her style. I'm not even going to talk about her style because I don't find anything wrong with her style. I mean, it's exaggerated, but I get it. But it's really about her character and what she projects. And I like people who tell it like it is. I like people who are bold enough to speak truth, put truth on the table, right? Or at least put a position on the table that makes sense. But when you really listen to a lot of what Jasmine Crockett is saying, she's not being bold with the truth. She's actually doing a lot of name calling. And one of the things that really irritated me about her is an interview that she did, I believe, on CNN recently, when she was calling Trump a racist. And the other Black lady said something about, Trump said something that he's not a racist. And she's he's a racist, right? She wouldn't back down from that name calling, that position that she put out there about him. And, I just think that people like her, they expect for black people to operate with no scruples. They expect for us to just be out there with no decorum in certain situations. And I think that she is there to placate into that. Hopefully, if they are priming her for higher office or for as being one of their other hopefuls, because usually when the Democrats are over propping somebody on their side, usually that is somebody they're going to try to push to the public as a presidential hopeful, because right now they got nothing. They got nothing. Who does the Democrats have right now? Like, I really want to know who they have. Hakeem Jeffries is looking mad beta. Jasmine Crockett is not going to do it. She's not going to do it. I mean, she's doing all that kind of Megan Thee Stallion, Congresswoman, Tata Lalicious shit. She's not going to do it. Tata Lalicious is not going to do it. I'm going to start calling Jasmine Crockett Tata Lalicious. I like that. Tata Lalicious. Tata Lalicious is not going to do it, right? Jasmine Crockett is not going to pull it off for the Democrats, so they need something better than that. They need a black woman with a little bit more esteem. Don't they got like a version of Condoleezza Rice on the Democratic side? Can't you just find a very graceful black woman on your side? Like, where's your Condies? I'm just curious. I'm just very, very curious about that. But let me get into the chat. Let me see who's ignorant up in here too, so I can go ahead and block you. And no, that is not censoring you. That's just getting you off of my channel because I don't want to deal with your ignorant. People are so dumb sometimes. They'll say stupid shit like, oh, you don't like other people's opinions. It's like, I don't mind other people's opinion. You just not going to come up in here saying dumbass shit. Like, here's the smiley face person. We got another troll, the Mossad. I swear, when I find out, let me see if I can deactivate the reactions. Let me turn that off so we can get that punk ass gone. Bye, bitch. Anyway, so if you want to really say something, put it in the chat so we can see who you are. Anyways, let's get into the comments. What's going on, chat? I see you. Let me see. What's going on? From Virginia, I see you. Stand up and make some. Boy, if you don't sit your punk ass down, your mama should teach you how to talk to women. I can't stand men that approach every single woman the same way. You got to do better. You got to understand what type of woman that you are approaching, talking to. That's why so many of you are failures, because you approach every single woman the same way. You are not even trying to see if these women are operating with a different grace. You're just coming up saying shit. Like, y'all moms need to do better. Y'all really, they really do. I'm putting it on the mamas all day when it comes to some of these punk asses just running around saying shit, because bitch behaviors come from a man that has had a dominant woman influence, or a beta male dad who has had a dominant woman influence, and that shit rubbed off on him. So too many men running around with bitch behaviors, just running around, no scruples. You can't even say you're a man when you don't operate with scruples and self-control. You are a boy. I don't care what color you are. But anyways, what's going on, Jacqueline? You are speaking truth and reality. What's going on, Rodney? I see you. What about Harold Ford? Harold Ford, not so much, right? Harold Ford, no. See, the problem with the Democrats is, and people are going to be like, that's racist. That's racist. If the Democrats are going to try to prop a black candidate, this person needs to be a person who is not ambiguous. Remember that show 24, and the president was black in that show with Kiefer Sutherland? I forgot that guy's name. He was on the Allstate commercials too. Handsome brother. They had him as the president of the United States. Democrats would have to put up a brother that looked like him. And I'm not talking about from Africa, too. I'm talking about somebody who is probably a foundational black American, right? Because they can't play the ambiguous cards anymore because you have black delineation in America now. So you now have the segment of the black community. A lot of people are delineating from other black looking people just so that these politicians can no longer pull the wool over our eyes with a Barack Obama or a Kamala Harris and sell them as black people when they're really just products of immigrants. They don't have the same lineage, national lineage, as foundational black Americans who are actually more rooted in this nation and who feel like they have more of a penance in this nation, so therefore they should have more priority. And so, again, the Democrats were not aware of such delineation. They didn't care about the ADOS movement. They didn't think that the ADOS movement was going to blow up into a segment of this FBA type of mindset of lineage delineation. So they kind of misread a lot of things, thinking that black people were the same old Negroes that they've been dealing with forever. Surprise! We're not. We are not. But, anyways, you guys, let me know what you think about this. It's going to be an interesting political cycle. I think that right now the Republicans have a really good chokehold on influence in America. And I think if Trump can deliver, if Trump can make the moves that he's saying that he's making, and Americans can actually, not in the short term, because we know in the short term we're going to feel the impacts of these changes in policies. We are going to feel the impacts, that we should have been feeling back in 2020, and we would have been already used to it. But these people wanted to stay the course on the dumb shit. You could have already had this consumer-based mind in America conditioned to where they need to be right now. But it's one of those things where, people got to tighten up. All right. We are a conditioned consumer-based mindset. And, sometimes, we have to get into the mindset. There's a time to be a super consumer. There's a time to be a moderate consumer. And there's a time to be a conservative consumer. And I think what Trump is saying is that you're going to have to be a conservative consumer until we iron some things out. And I said that I'm impressed with tariffs when I actually see job creations. And Trump is actually talking job creation with these tariffs. They have companies who are making commitments to come back to America. And he's saying that we're not even bribing these companies to bring their business to America. They are doing it because they don't want to deal with the tariffs. So I think when you have initiatives that incentivize job growth, I think when you have initiatives that incentivize people producing more in America, so America go to work. Now, the biggest thing too is, if you want the world to bet on America again, we have to produce things that the world wants, that the world needs. And so as Trump is answering all of these economic questions on how to downsize this nation, right? He needs to be also having a team of innovators and other folks thinking about what we can produce that the world will absolutely always want and need. And that's just what it is. So what do you guys think about that? You say you should do a collab with, I don't know, let's see. I'm trying to get my daughter to. Okay, you want your daughter to go to law school? I think that we need more common sense lawyers. I mean, I think we have a lot of activist lawyers, a lot of lawyers who are in there because of nepotism, right? And they don't have any respect for the law. They don't have any ethics. They don't have any morality. They can be paid to really disrespect an oath. So a lot of these things, we're dealing with just slimy people who got positioned because their parents happen to be somebody who know a guy who know a guy. right? So nepotism will always be the destruction of nations because it suppresses the best talents. People don't realize that DEI, the first DEI in this nation, is nepotism. White people have been DEIs way before they gave black people that title. If you are a beneficiary of nepotism, you are a DEI, right? You are a DEI in so many different ways because just because your dad hooked you up doesn't mean you were qualified for that job. How many people work at companies where you know somebody got promoted because their dad or somebody in there, whatever it was, and they were the worst option for that job? They only got that job because of daddy or somebody that they know, and they were the worst option for that job, no matter what color they were. They were the worst option for that job. They needed everybody and their mama to do their job just to make it look like they knew what the hell that they were doing. How many people know people like that in the company? And it's not about you being a hater. It's just that you can sit back and look at how certain people work positions. And you can just be like, yo, this person is just, they're not qualified. Jim's son is not qualified. The dude's an idiot. We got to show him how to do everything. 12 months into this job and he's still asking for a mentor because the kid can't hit the ground running. Why did his dad put him in this position? I'm telling you, there's so many white people who are the first DEIs in this nation. And you see nations go to shit when you have DEI and nepotism. So as much as Trump is targeting DEI, bro, you need to be targeting nepotism too. Because not everybody's kids are qualified to be doing some of the jobs that they've been doing in this nation. All right, so you said tariffs cost us. Of course they cost us. Of course it costs us. You're talking about a passing down of a tax on goods. But what is the offset of costs if non-working Americans are being able to be put to work? Because a company that doesn't want to pay the tariffs are now producing in America. And America has a lot of land, and there's a lot of incentives to give to a company that brings their production back to America. So again, the short-term effects of tariffs are going to be felt. I am glad that Trump was very realistic about that we're going to feel it in the short term, and, short-term and economic policy terms is not, under 12 months. It's kind of longer than that. It's like maybe 2 years, 2 to 5 years, right? We have to recover the economy. And I think that the drastic measures that the Trump administration are taking, is the pathway. And I think I heard J.D. Vance say it a little bit after they were elected. He said that we're not going to fix what has gone wrong in America in 4 years. He said that, but we can at least put it on the pathway. And so I think that the Trump administration is going to have to really do a good job of highlighting their wins. And also highlighting how their wins are trickling down into the people real time. That's definitely going to be something that they're going to have to over time do, because people need to see the results. I think people are tired of hearing what you're going to do, right? We want to see it implemented. We want to see the measurements of the implementation. We want to see the continuous improvement of the implementation, right? I think that's what people want to see. And then the end results. I think that's a fair assessment that people should expect from people making promises, especially when it comes to drastic economic, promises, in my opinion. I know YouTube is on some censorship stuff. They really are, because I'm just like, why the fuck do I keep turning off these reactions and their little content moderators keep pushing it out? Like, literally, my reactions are off, and I'm still seeing reactions pop up like on the phone version. So let me see what that is about. Like, do their phone version not talk to the web version or what? Because I don't see how I'm still seeing reactions and I turned them off. So, YouTube, we already know who's running this platform. Is there any non Mossad monitored video platforms that people are going to that is less ridiculous than YouTube? I don't know. Trump is busy with Zelensky. Trump got busy with Zelensky, him and JD. Now Zelensky, and he said something else too. Trump said something else. He was talking about that NATO meeting, and he was like, he waited. This was during his first term. He was like, yeah, I was kind of concerned about them not paying their fair share. He said, but I didn't really say anything the first meeting. He said, but the second meeting, I let them know. And he was like, you guys have to pay your fair share, and, otherwise, we're not going to be, supporting you. And so they were like, well, what if we don't pay our fair share, and we are delinquent? And he was just like, then basically, like, we ain't doing shit for you. And I like that attitude, because it's like, again, you're supposed to be our friends, Europe, right? Why y'all expecting us to just hold everything down? Why can't you put something in on it sometimes? And again, it's like being that well-off friend that everybody just expects for you to do everything because you're better well off. And it's like, come on now. Y'all can put in some time too. You know what I mean? And I think that's where Trump is looking at, like, man, we ain't got really good friends if they just relying on us to just do every damn thing and hold everything down. You're not a good friend. You're a user. That's basically what it's saying. So Trump was like, if you're delinquent, don't be looking to the United States to be coming over there helping you fight your battle. You didn't pay. You're delinquent. It's like hiring a security company, right? To secure your house every day. You stop paying them people. You think they're going to show up to your house to secure it? They're going to be looking like, you did not pay me to protect you. And that's what Trump is saying. If they don't want to pay their fair share, then basically they did not pay United States to be jumping into their little battles. And he said they started playing. So look at that. And he said NATO still don't have the money, that the resources that they need, even with those other nations starting to pay. But Trump talked about getting out of the World Health Organization. Trump talked about the Gulf of America, right? He's making real estate deals during his presidency. And he's selling citizenship, $5 million. You can bring some jobs into America. You can get a gold card. You can get a gold card. So Trump is not anti-immigration, okay? He is not anti-immigration. That is very, very clear. He just wants people to legally be able to come in here, and he also wants them to be cream of the crop. So you got to have $5 million, according to Trump, to really be considered coming up in this country. That's the kind of immigrants that he wants, the kind that can actually come to the country with at least $5 million, right? I guess he's upping the quality of our immigrants, if you will. So no more of you poor people. You guys are liabilities. If you can pay $5 million, you can get your ass up in here. Get your ass up in here if you got $5 million. We will citizen your ass in a second, right? You coming with bread. Y'all coming with needs. We gotta clothe and shelter y'all, all that stuff, right? I don't want them immigrants. That's Trump. I want the ones that can actually do $5 million. If you can pay us $5 million to come up in here, we know you got bread. You can be here. That is Trump. That is Trump. But anyways, you guys, let me get out of here. You said NATO needs to. Oh, you deleted your comment. But making real estate deals for his own pocket. Is he making real estate deals for his own pocket? Who knows, right? Who knows? I mean, I'm pretty sure, these investments, right? He's making cuts. These investments. I mean, I don't see how Trump would be profiting from it more than America. Wouldn't it be America's money? I'm just curious. Wouldn't it be America's money that's drawing the profits from any real estate deals that he's doing on behalf of America? That would be really criminal of Trump to be overly profiting from deals that are supposed to be in the interest of stabilizing the American economy. And the purpose of these real estate deals is stabilizing the American economy while also destabilizing other economies too. So I think the last time I heard, he's looking to finish out the Gazans, the Hamas people, right? He's trying to get that real estate development going on the Gaza Strip, because again, that is prime real estate land. And again, I'm speaking, sadly, sarcastically, stoically, if you will, because unfortunately, there's nothing that any of us can do to stop that situation from going down exactly the way it's going to go down. So, with that being said, hopefully Trump can keep Israel at bay, but I don't think he is. And again, I said this before, Israel and America, they are that second beast in Bible prophecy. And so there's not much going to deviate, between the two of them supporting each other. And that's just what it is. Gaza Plaza ain't happening. I think that, the way that Trump is talking, I think that it is going to happen. The way that Trump is talking, he's already painting the narratives of the hostages. He's already garnering the sympathy about the Israeli hostages. He's not focusing on the people of Palestine, right? We're not supposed to think of those people as humans, right? And so they're going to finish the job. And I've been saying this for a very, very long time. As far as we know, those Palestinians, those 1.7 million people now have already been eradicated, and they have us thinking that they haven't. So we don't know. I haven't seen any pictures of the people in Palestine. So, we don't know what's what over there, but we know that that is an area in which they are going to be imperializing. And again, the Ukrainian deal, we'll see what happens with that. Volodymyr Zelensky, I think he really thought, okay, I'm going to come up in here with my pictures. I'm going to show, him. I'm going to pull in Israel because, they're cousins, right? I'm going to show him all these pictures of people of war and hostages and people that have been just treated horribly by the Russians, right? And Trump, he's going through his little Rolodex of war crimes or, inhumane treatment of Ukrainians from Russians. And Trump is looking like, yeah. Why don't Trump have the same sympathy for the Ukrainians that he had for the Israelis? I don't get that incongruency. Are they like the lesser Jews or something in Ukraine? Are the ones in Israel kind of the more esteemed Jews, and so they need to be optimally protected? I don't know. But I never understood why Israel, when it came to that Israel-Ukraine conflict, why the Ukrainians just seem to get the bastard treatment. It just seems that way to me. Like, you know, if we're going to talk about just the cream of the crop Jewish-esque nations that United States support, right? It just seems like, Israel is the glory one, right? And Ukraine is like, oh yeah, them too. They are people too, but whatever. I don't know. But it's very peculiar to me. I never really understood just the division, especially in the Democratic Party, because you're talking about a party that is 80% at some point Jewish people voted for. So I never understood how the Democrats were standing for Ukraine, but not standing for Israel. Like, that was just really perplexing to me. Very, very perplexing to me, because it's like, aren't they cousins? Aren't they cousins? And I'm not talking. They are, to me. They're cousins. If you want to believe real history, ethnic background, some of those people truly are cousins. I just didn't get it. I didn't get it. The Democrats are a weird group of people, and I would love to understand why Ukraine was such the thing that the Democrats wanted to protect versus Israel. So that would be interesting to me. The Russian-Ukrainian war on YouTube. I mean, honestly, I don't know if YouTube is shadow banning anything related to the Russian-Ukrainian war, but I kid you not, I have not heard or seen anything about that war come up in my feeds or anywhere anywhere on social media. I have not seen anything related to the Russia-Ukraine war pop up in my feeds at all. They censor the hell out of that. They censored the hell out of that, in my opinion, because they had Nazis in their military called Azov Brigade. Anybody think it's peculiar how the Democratic Party seems to have Nazis on call during political cycles when they're trying to propagandize people? How is it that their side always seems to have the Nazis on call? I'm starting to believe that the Nazis are on both sides of the aisle. I think the Nazis are pretty bipartisan in so many different ways. But anyways, you guys, and that's just my opinion. But I believe, like I said, I believe that white supremacy boils down to Zionist Christians and Jews. So there's that. We're all just casualties to their supremacy wars and thinking that they're God's chosen people or church, when really Israel in the Bible is a people, not a land. But anyways, you guys, have a wonderful rest of your day. It's perplexing to me how the Democrats are not standing with the woman athletes who being made to feel lesser than when it comes to their rights against trans women in sports. I mean, the Democrats shitted on the women's movement. They shitted on their very movement. They created all these little fringe groups and they were just shitting on each other ideologically. Like, this is how mentally ill they are and how much they love starting shit among groups. When you're talking about dividing groups, starting shit among groups, they are always going to be supreme. They are always going to be supreme. They call themselves the Brown Party now in Germany and still exists. Interesting. The brown one. The Brown Party. That's interesting. But, I pray for everybody. I think that, the older you get, the more you learn to be politically neutral, because you realize that, both of these parties are literally two heads on the same coin. That's all they are. They are heads on the same coin. And the one question that we all have to ask ourselves at any given time is, who's flicking the coin? Who's flicking the coin? because we're dealing with two heads on the same coin, but somebody's flicking the coin. Somebody or somebody's. So there's that. So you guys have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your evening. If you like content like this, subscribe. This is a tribe of rational thinkers. We are not lemmings. I don't believe in people being woke. I believe in people being aware. And being aware means that you are empowering yourself, which is with as much diverse knowledge as you possibly can to just really understand how the world works around you. There's multi layers to this world that is working around us. And I get people who are blissfully ignorant. I get people who don't want to think about it, right? But you still got to understand, how your choices impact. So the more informed you are, the more you're going to be able to make sound decisions. So anyways, you guys have a wonderful rest of your evening. Love your neighbor as yourself. If you would not disrespect or abuse yourself, do not disrespect or abuse your neighbor. Bye.